Welcome to my home kitchen. We're making classic Southern chess pie. I'm going to show you how to make a super buttery, flaky crust with a sweet yet tangy custard filling. I dare you just to eat one slice. We need to melt 6 tablespoons of unsalted butter. We also need to have 1 stick of cold unsalted butter. You need to have a 1/3 cup of water and preheat your oven to 400 degrees. We're doing this together, but at any time, if I get a little too far ahead of you, hit pause, finish what you need to do, and catch back up to me. Let's get started on our pie dough. Let's get 1 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Ooh. You can level it off with your finger. Okay. Let's add to this a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt. Give it a whisk. Let's grate our cold butter. It's important to have cold butter when making a pie crust or even making a biscuit. You want to create pea-sized bits of butter so it can thoroughly incorporate throughout the entire dough. And if your hands are a little warm and it starts to melt, don't worry about it. When it gets to that point, just dump it in there. We'll break it up with our fingers. Okay. Using your fingers, break up the butter until it turns into pea sizes. I love a good pie. And I'm a pie person because I like the crust. The more crust, the better. And this is my go-to pie crust recipe. Super simple. That looks like pea sizes to me. We're going to slowly add in our cold water. You got to eyeball this. We're just adding in enough water until the dough forms a ball. Working it in with your hand. We need to add a little bit more. The dough should start to feel a little sticky. I think I need a little bit more. This should do the trick. Yep. We're going to use a little bit of flour. We call this bench flour. And this is to make sure your dough does not stick to your surface. Okay. Roll it around in the flour. You could use any more. You want to also eyeball this. Form a little ball. Okay. Take your rolling pin, also add flour to your rolling pin. I'll always use more than enough flour. We're just gonna roll this out until the dough forms about a 12-inch diameter. You want it a little bigger than your actual pie dish. Okay, that looks good to me. And I like to judge the size of my pie dough by just putting the dish on top. If it looks like it's going a little bit bigger than the pie dish, that's enough. Okay, gather it up. Make sure you have some flour on your hands. So we're pushing up the sides. And there's 2 ways you can crimp your pie dough. You can either use your fingers to do it, or you can use a fork. I'm using a fork for this pie dough. Right, you just want to make sure that your sides are pushed up. All right, just pushing the pie dough up. All right, take a fork and just crimp around. Just use your fork to go around. Okay, we're gonna let our pie dough set up in the freezer for about 15 minutes. Hit pause and I'll meet you back here when it's done. It's been 15 minutes. Let's poke some holes in our pie crust. I'm using a toothpick. If you don't have a toothpick, just use a fork. Okay. Grab some parchment paper. Place it in the center. Get some pie weights and put them in there. If you don't have pie weights, you can also use dried beans. The reason we're using pie weights is to keep the pie down. Sometimes when you blind bake a pie, it tends to puff up. The pie weights eliminate that. Let's head over to our oven. Our oven is set to 400 degrees. Pop it in there, bake it for 15 to 20 minutes, hit pause and meet me back here. All right, it's been 15 minutes. Let's head back over here. Okay. Let's take our pie weights out. Okay. Now we're gonna do a simple egg wash for the crust. That helps to kind of lock in that flakiness and it makes it golden brown and shiny. 1 egg into a cup with a little water. All right. Give it a mix. Okay. Using a brush, let's brush our edges. And if it falls down, that's okay. We're just mainly concerned about the edges here. I can already tell how flaky this pie crust is going to be. It's my go-to recipe. Okay. Let's pop this back in the oven for an additional 10 minutes. Pop this back in here. Hit pause and I'll see you back here in 10 minutes. It's been 10 minutes. Let's take our pie crust out. I can already smell it's the start of something magical. Okay. We're gonna let our pie crust cool completely. Let's turn our oven down to 325 and let's get started on our filling. And the great thing about chess pie filling, not only is it a smooth and creamy custardy filling, it has another layer of texture from cornmeal. Let's start off by pouring in 6 tablespoons of unsalted melted butter. Okay. 1 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. Four eggs, the base of a custard, let's give it a whisk, breaking up that yolk. Okay. All right, let's add in that surprise element. 2 tablespoons of cornmeal, yellow cornmeal. Let's add in 1/4 cup of buttermilk. Two teaspoons of vanilla extract. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Let's give it another whisk. Okay, making sure all of your egg yolks are broken. Okay. That looks creamy to me. Let's grab our pie crust. It should be cool to the touch, so you'll be able to pick it up without gloves. All right, let's slowly add in our custardy filling. That is so pretty. So rich in color. It's gonna rise just slightly as it bakes. All right, let's head over to our oven. Let's pop it in the oven. The oven should be set to 325 degrees. All right, so let's let that bake for 50 to 55 minutes. If you peek in there halfway through and you notice that your crust is getting a little too brown, tint it with some foil. After 50 minutes, I want you to go in there with a toothpick, put it down the center. If it comes out clean, it is ready, baby. Take it out of the oven and let it cool for 3 to 4 hours. In the meantime, hit pause and meet me back there. All right, our pie is nice and cool. Let's take some powdered sugar and just dust it on top. I like doing this. Doesn't that look gorgeous? Let's take a slice. I'm gonna go in right here. Do you hear how crispy that is? Look how pretty that is. Grab a plate, put that on top. And if you want, you can add just a little bit more powdered sugar on top. Why not? Let's give it a taste. Ooh, child. That is good. Wow, it's creamy, custardy. Get a little bit of that tang from that buttermilk in there. That powdered sugar just seals the deal. That is what you call classic chess pie.